Hello, welcome to another session. We spoke before about finding wiring diagrams for certain vehicles. If you put in wiring diagram for starting circuit for Toyota Camrys, you'll come up with certain images over here, and that's what they are. They're images. So if you look at this part over here for images, the one I clicked on was this one, as you can see. Now, if you click the next one, a different image, and so on, and so on. And you look for the image that you need. So, what I like about this one is, remember, these are just free downloads. So, it's not going to give you all the information. There might be other sheets. It's not a replacement for ALLDATA, like I said, or Mitchell, but it does give you a direction where to go. So what I like about this one, if you click on this one, is you can see the colors of the wires they give you on the illustration. So green and white, some of them are red and white. So you can see very easily, even if you're not familiar with schematics, you can tell this is a fuse. It tells you this is a switch once the switch is closed, for the stoplight, for the brake lights, and it flows through this a module, a digital module, whatever it is, op amps or OR gates. And this one over here now comes to the lights that we're dealing with. So it is a pretty good indication of what's going on in the circuit, and hopefully you'll be able to analyze and troubleshoot according to this. Now, not all of them are color-coded like this, but this is color-coded for this purpose. There is a center console with a light over here. So this is for the brake light system. So again, current is flowing from the battery through the fuse, through the switch once it's closed. When you press the brakes, there's a switch, a stop switch involved, and goes to a resistor, which is involved in this module. And current flows to this light, and it flows to this light to ground. So it's pretty useful and serves its purpose. If we're going to go to, let's say, starting diagram, okay? Now, starting diagram is more difficult, but it does give you a pretty good indication of what's going on. So, if you look over here, this is the heavy gauge wire for all the current going to the starter motor. This is the relay circuit for the starter motor. That's not the solenoid, that's the relay that we talked about so many times. This is the ignition switch. So the ignition switch has to be obviously in the start position. It has to be in the start position. This one over here, let's say it's ganged together, the ignition switch. One path for this one path for this one. So as you start the vehicle in the on position, then you go to the start position, or some people call it the run position. The way to start the vehicle is obviously in the start position. You are enabling a relay. So whenever you think of, let's say you start the switch, you turn the switch, you don't hear anything at all. No click, nothing. We're not talking about crank, no start. We're talking about no crank, no start. When you hear it, sometimes you might hear a click, sometimes you might not hear a click. It doesn't matter. Obviously, I think the first thing people always assume is the battery. But let's say the battery measured good. Okay? So it brings us to this point over here through all these fuses, through this, gonna go through here, and this one over here will go through this one, through a switch, through the solenoid to activate, through the coil of the relay to activate this switch that we talked about so many times, so I don't want to review the same point over and over again. Basically, you need coil through this. You need current through this part of the coil, and then current can flow from this way to the starter motor. So these are the basic things, but today everything is more computerized. So if I'm not getting the starter motor, what can I do to make sure that the starter motor is, at least that part is active? So I always refer to people, you know what you can do? You can jump this part of it. You can jump that part of the relay, which is attached to the load, which is the starter motor. That will tell you a couple of things. It will tell you the fuses are good, the battery is good, the wiring is good over here. It will tell you that the starter motor and its ground is good. What am I left with? I'm left with this part of the switch uh, and the coil part of it to make sure that's working. That's one part of it. Okay? But when you jump, like I always tell the people, when you jump the reel, and make sure it is the load side, not the control side. If you jump the control side, this takes out the resistance from the circuit, and then you're left with no resistance and high current. That's obviously a damage to component parts, including computer modules. So be careful which one you're doing. So as that is happening, that huge amount of current, 400, 500 cranking amps, can start to engage the starter, to the flywheel, to the crankshaft. Obviously, that will engage the engine. So that's the first part when I'm troubleshooting, if that's easy enough for you. Sometimes, like I said, you could go and measure the voltage over here. That will include the ignition switch and the relay. But I've discussed this so many times, I don't want to keep on saying the same point over and over and over again, even though it sounds like it. But my main point is, for the process of just looking up a wiring diagram, this is pretty good. It helps you at least give you a direction. As you can see, you have to choose the right one for the vehicle that you have. So you can type in over here. You can type in to over here. I'm using a little off because I'm looking through the tripod. I'm looking through the camera. This one over here, you could put 2008, 2009, 2010. You could put a Chevy Suburban. You could put in a Buick, Pontiac. You can put in whatever you need. Image will come up, and you'll decide. Like I said, these images will come up. You decide which one it is. Now, there's also diagrams of the location of the components. So that's also a great guide to the person who's trying to do his own repairs. And as you can see, like I said, this one is unique because it actually gives you, this is a green and white wire. You see right away how they use it to color code it, which is very clever in a way. You don't see too many like that. But anyway, this is very helpful. So you have to decide which one is for you. But like I said, I just thought that this would be very helpful. You don't have to spend $20, $30 for a schematic of 40, 50 pages if you're only going to use one page of it. And for me, this is sufficient. So anyway, thanks for watching. And like I said, please leave comments if there's any confusion or analyzation. Thank you so much.